Take a moment to get comfortable. Adjust your posture, relax your shoulders, and clear away any immediate distractions around you. Today, we are stepping into a quiet space to dissect a universal human struggle, a subtle thief that quietly steals our hours, our peace of mind, and ultimately, our potential. Let us begin with a scenario that you have likely lived through countless times. It is 9 a.m. on a Monday morning. You sit down at your desk. In front of you is a major project, a long, complicated report, an important academic essay, a financial budget, or perhaps a difficult email that you know you need to send. You know that finishing this task is critical for your goals. You have every intention of working on it. Yet, the moment you open the document, an uncomfortable feeling settles in your chest. A soft, subtle friction whispers, "I'm not quite in the mood for this right now. Let me just clean my desk first." So, you organize your pens. Then you decide to check your email, just to make sure nothing urgent came in. Then you see an interesting article, so you click it. Then you think, "I should probably make a fresh cup of coffee before I tackle this big project." By the time 2 p.m. rolls around, you have been busy all day, but the document remains completely blank. As the sun sets, a heavy, familiar feeling takes over, guilt. You ask yourself, why do I do this to myself? Why am I so lazy? Why do I lack discipline? You promise yourself that tomorrow will be different. But when tomorrow comes, the exact same story plays out. If this cycle sounds familiar, I have good news for you: you are not broken, you are not lazy, and you do not suffer from a moral defect. What you are experiencing is a deeply misunderstood psychological defense mechanism. Today, we are diving into the definitive blueprint for overcoming this struggle, solving the procrastination puzzle, a concise guide to strategies for change by renowned psychologist and researcher Dr. Timothy A. Pychyl. Dr. Pychyl has spent decades running the procrastination research group at Carleton University. In this masterclass, he strips away the useless motivational jargon and offers a hard, scientifically backed, yet deeply compassionate look at why we delay the things that matter most. In this comprehensive audiobook script, we are going to explore the neurological roots of delay, decode the emotional regulation theory, learn why willpower fails us, and build a concrete, step-by-step toolkit to finally break the cycle and take action. Settled? Clear your mind. Let us solve the procrastination puzzle together. Part 1, The Core Truth: Procrastination is not time management. Narrator. To solve any problem, we must first define it with absolute precision. And the very first step in solving the procrastination puzzle is unlearning a massive cultural myth. For decades, books, seminars, and productivity gurus have claimed that procrastination is a time management problem. They tell you that if you just buy a better planner, download a new calendar app, color-code your task list, or schedule your hours more strictly, your procrastination will magically disappear. Dr. Timothy Pychyl proves that this is entirely wrong. Procrastination is not a flaw in your calendar, it is a breakdown in your emotional regulation. Let us state this fundamental principle as clearly as possible: procrastination is an emotion-focused coping strategy. When you look at a task and choose to put it off, you are not failing to manage time. You are attempting to manage a negative mood associated with that task. Think about the task you are delaying right now. Why are you delaying it? Is it because the task feels boring? Frustrating? Unclear? Overwhelming? Terrifying? Or perhaps the task triggers an internal fear of failure, or even a fear of judgment. When you look at that task, your brain registers those negative emotions: boredom, fear, frustration, anxiety, as a threat to your current emotional well-being. Your brain naturally wants to feel good right now. So, what is the fastest, easiest way to relieve that emotional discomfort? Avoid the task. The moment you close the document and open a social media tab, or step away to make coffee, your anxiety instantly drops. A wave of temporary emotional relief washes over your brain. Your brain registers a quick victory: avoiding that task made us feel good. This creates a dangerous neurological feedback loop. You have rewarded your brain for running away. Dr. Pychyl calls this giving in to feel good. It is a short-term emotional trade-off. You trade your future peace of mind, your long-term success, and your self-esteem tomorrow for a brief, fleeting moment of emotional comfort right now. Once you understand that procrastination is an emotional problem, you realize why time management apps don't work. A color-coded calendar cannot cure your fear of failure. A daily planner cannot soothe your anxiety about being judged. To defeat procrastination, you must stop trying to fix your time, and start learning how to manage your emotional reactions to discomfort. Chapter 2, The Battle in Your Brain, the Amygdala versus the Prefrontal Cortex. To understand why giving in to feel good happens so automatically, we must peek under the hood of human neurology. Inside your skull, an ancient evolutionary war is being waged every single day. It is a battle between two distinct parts of your brain, the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. Let us meet the first competitor, the amygdala. The amygdala is the ancient, emotional core of your brain. Often called the reptilian brain, it operates at lightning speed and is responsible for your survival instincts, specifically, the fight-or-flight response. The amygdala does not care about your 5-year career goals. It does not care about your college degree, your financial independence, or your self-esteem. The amygdala cares about one thing: keeping you safe and comfortable in this exact microsecond. When the amygdala perceives anything uncomfortable, boring, or threatening, it sounds the alarm and demands that you run away to safety. Now, let us meet the second competitor, the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex sits directly behind your forehead. This is the newest, most evolved part of the human brain. It is the seat of logic, long-term planning, decision-making, and self-control. This is your internal, home system. The prefrontal cortex is the part of you that realizes, if I study for this exam today, I will pass the class next month and build a great career. Here is the problem: the prefrontal cortex is slow, highly energy-intensive, and easily fatigued. The amygdala, on the other hand, is fast, highly reactive, and draws power instantaneously. When you sit down to tackle a difficult, uncomfortable task, your amygdala interprets the discomfort as a physical threat. It stage manages what neuroscientists call an amygdala hijack. Your amygdala floods your body with stress signals, overwhelming your slow, logical prefrontal cortex. It screams, danger, discomfort, escape now. Before your rational brain even has a chance to formulate an argument, your hand has already reached for your smartphone. Your amygdala has won the battle. You have surrendered to immediate emotional gratification. Dr. Pychyl points out that every time you procrastinate, you are letting your ancient, reactive amygdala run your modern life. You are letting an emotional survival mechanism make decisions for a human being who lives in a world of complex, long-term goals. To overcome procrastination, you must learn how to consciously support your prefrontal cortex so it can overrule the impulsive demands of your amygdala. Chapter 3, The Lies We Tell Ourselves, Rationalization and Cognitive Distortion. Humans are not just emotional creatures, we are deeply storytelling creatures. When our amygdala tricks us into avoiding a task, our prefrontal cortex feels a sudden burst of guilt. To resolve this internal conflict between what we should be doing and what we are actually doing, our brain invents clever lies. Dr. Pychyl calls these cognitive distortions or rationalizations. These are the quiet, reasonable-sounding excuses we make to justify giving in to feel good, allowing us to procrastinate without feeling like a bad person in the moment. Let us shine a light on the 4 most common lies we tell ourselves. Lie 1, I'll feel more like doing it tomorrow. This is the single most common lie in the human vocabulary. When you look at a task today, you feel anxious or bored. So you tell yourself, I'm just tired today. Tomorrow I will wake up energized, motivated, and excited to write this report. Dr. Pychyl calls this a delusion about our future self. You are projecting a magical, heroic version of yourself into tomorrow, a version that has no fear, no tiredness, and infinite motivation. Here is the cold, psychological reality: your mood tomorrow will be identical to your mood today. Tomorrow, the task will still be boring, difficult, or scary. The only difference is that tomorrow, you will have less time to complete it, causing your stress levels to skyrocket. Lie 2: I work better under pressure. How many times have you said this to justify putting off a project until the absolute last minute? Science has thoroughly debunked this myth. Research shows that people who put tasks off until the last minute do not perform better. They make more errors, produce lower quality work, experience higher levels of stress, and suffer from compromised immune systems due to the massive cortisol spikes caused by last-minute panic. You do not work better under pressure. What actually happens is that the immediate proximity of the deadline becomes so terrifying that it forces your amygdala to stop running away. The panic forces you to focus, but the quality of your output is almost always lower than if you had worked on it steadily. Over time. Lie 3: I need to be in the right mood to be creative or productive. We live in a culture that worships motivation. We believe that internal feelings must precede external action. We think, first I must feel inspired, then I will write. First I must feel energetic, then I will exercise. This is a complete reversal of how human psychology actually works. Action precedes motivation. You do not need to feel like doing something to do it. You are a fully capable adult who can physically perform an action regardless of your current emotional state. You can feel bored and still write. You can feel tired and still stretch. You can feel anxious and still send the email. Lie 4: I'll just do this small task first to build momentum. This is the insidious trap of structured procrastination. You sit down to do your big, high-priority task, your A1 task. But instead, you decide to clean your desk, organize your downloads folder, or answer 5 minor emails. You tell yourself, I am still being productive. This is a sneaky trick played by your brain. You are using low-priority, easy tasks to generate a cheap feeling of accomplishment while actively avoiding the high-stakes task that actually matters. Recognize these excuses for what they are: psychological shields created by your brain to protect you from temporary emotional discomfort. When you catch yourself saying, I'll feel more like it tomorrow, stop and call yourself out. Recognize that your brain is attempting to lie to you. Chapter 4: The Impact of Delay, the Heavy Cost of Procrastination. Before we build our action toolkit, we must look at the true cost of chronic delay. Many people treat procrastination as a harmless, slightly embarrassing habit, like biting your nails or leaving your laundry unfolded for a few days. We joke about it on social media. We talk about procrastinating our way through the week. Dr. Timothy Pychyl warns us that chronic procrastination is far from harmless. It carries a massive, compounding tax on your health, your career, and your happiness. Let us look at the 3 major domains where procrastination wreaks havoc. 1. The physical health tax. When you procrastinate, the task does not disappear. It lingers in the back of your mind like a background app consuming your phone's battery. This creates a state of chronic, low-grade psychological stress. Studies conducted by Dr. Pychyl and his colleagues reveal that chronic procrastinators suffer from significantly higher rates of cardiovascular stress, compromised immune systems, chronic insomnia, and digestive issues. Furthermore, procrastinators consistently delay preventive medical checkups, healthy meal preparation, and exercise routines, creating a severe downward spiral in their physical well-being. 2. The relationship and career tax. Procrastination destroys trust. When you consistently deliver projects late, miss deadlines, or make excuses to your team, colleagues, or loved ones, you send an unspoken message: I am unreliable. Over time, this quietly erodes your professional reputation and damages your closest relationships. Opportunities for advancement vanish because leaders naturally give responsibility to individuals who execute consistently without needing to be chased. 3. The existential tax, the ultimate cost. This is the heaviest tax of all. There are two types of procrastination. Deadline-based procrastination, putting off a report due on Friday. Eventually, the deadline arrives, the panic sets in, and you finish it. Open-ended procrastination, putting off tasks that have no fixed deadline. Open-ended procrastination is where our true dreams go to die. There is no deadline for starting that side business. There is no fixed deadline for writing that book, learning that language, fixing your relationship, or getting into the best shape of your life. Nobody is coming to fire you if you don't pursue your deepest ambitions. When you procrastinate on open-ended goals, weeks turn into months, and months turn into decades. You wake up years later with a profound, aching sense of regret, realizing that you allowed your fear of temporary discomfort to steal the life you were meant to build. As Dr. Pychyl hauntingly reminds us, we don't procrastinate on tasks, we procrastinate on our lives. Understanding this high cost is crucial. It gives us the emotional leverage we need to stop treating procrastination as a minor quirk and start treating it as a critical barrier to our freedom. Chapter 5, The Master Strategy, Just Get Started. We have unmasked the enemy. We know that procrastination is emotional regulation gone wrong. We know how the amygdala hijacks our brain, we recognize the lies we tell ourselves, and we see the heavy price of delay. Now, how do we fix it? Dr. Timothy Pychyl provides a master rule that serves as the foundation for his entire methodology. If you take only one single rule from this book and apply it for the rest of your life, your productivity will double overnight. That rule is deceptively simple: just get started. Notice the phrasing. He does not say, just finish. He does not say, do a great job. He says, just get started. Why is this rule so neurologically potent? Remember, your amygdala panics when it looks at a massive, daunting task, like writing a 20-page dissertation or clearing out a room full of old files. The sheer size of the task triggers an emotional overload of anxiety and frustration. When you tell your brain, we are going to write a 20-page dissertation right now, your amygdala rebels. However, if you lower the stakes dramatically and tell your brain, we are not writing a dissertation. We are just going to open a blank document and write one single, terrible sentence, the amygdala stays completely calm. The threat level drops to zero. By drastically reducing the scope of the initial action, you eliminate the emotional friction. And here is where the magic of human neurochemistry takes over. Once you take that tiny, painless first step, something remarkable happens: progress fuels motivation. Contrary to popular belief, you do not need motivation to start a task. You need to start a task to generate motivation. Psychologists refer to this as the Zeigarnik Effect. Our brains naturally dislike incomplete actions. Once you begin an action, your brain creates a subtle psychological momentum that draws you forward to continue it. When you write that first bad sentence, your perception of the task changes. You realize, hey, this isn't so terrible after all. I can write a second sentence. The hard wall of initial resistance breaks down. The static friction disappears, replaced by kinetic momentum. Whenever you feel the paralyzing friction of procrastination, drop your gaze from the distant mountain peak down to the very next footstep. Ask yourself one simple question: what is the absolute smallest, easiest next action I can take right now to move this forward by 1%? Do not focus on the entire project. Focus entirely on that microscopic next action. Just get started. Chapter 6, The Compassion Cure, Forgiving Your Past Self. Let us address a trap that catches almost everyone attempting to conquer procrastination. Suppose you wake up today with high hopes. But by 3 p.m., you catch yourself having wasted 4 hours scrolling on your phone or doing trivial tasks. You have procrastinated once again. How do you react to yourself in that moment? If you are like most people, you unleash an internal storm of brutal self-criticism. You call yourself lazy, stupid, weak-willed, and a failure. You wallow in guilt, shame, and self-loathing. You think that by beating yourself up, you will force yourself to do better tomorrow. Dr. Pycyl's research reveals a shocking truth: self-criticism makes procrastination worse. Let us trace the psychology behind this trap. Why do you procrastinate? To escape negative emotions. When you beat yourself up, criticize yourself, and feel immense guilt for wasting time, what are you generating? More negative emotions. You flood your brain with shame, anxiety, and a feeling of worthlessness. And how does your brain naturally attempt to escape those fresh, painful negative emotions? By seeking another quick hit of distraction. You procrastinate more to escape the guilt of having procrastinated in the first place. This is a toxic cycle that can paralyze a person for weeks or months. To break this chain, Dr. Pychyl conducted a landmark study with university students. He measured their levels of self-forgiveness after they procrastinated on preparing for an exam. The results were undeniable. Students who forgave themselves for procrastinating on the first exam procrastinated significantly less on the second exam. Self-forgiveness is not an excuse to give up or lower your standards. It is a necessary neurological strategy. When you catch yourself having wasted time, pause. Take a deep, slow breath. Drop the internal whip. Speak to yourself with warm, objective self-compassion. Okay, I wasted the morning. I felt anxious and I ran away to distraction. It was a mistake, but I am a human being, and mistakes happen. I forgive myself for the lost time. The past is dead. Right now, in this exact present moment, what is the smallest next step I can take? By forgiving yourself, you instantly neutralize the shame and guilt. You restore emotional calm to your brain, allowing your logical prefrontal cortex to step back into the driver's seat and take positive action. Chapter 7: Building the Environment, Outsmarting Your Future Self. Up until now, we have focused on internal emotional regulation. But we must also address our external environment. Many people believe that disciplined individuals have superhuman willpower. They picture a successful person sitting at a desk with their phone buzzing, social media open, notifications flashing, and junk food nearby, yet effortlessly ignoring all of it through pure mental toughness. This is a complete illusion. Science shows that willpower is a limited, exhaustible resource. Every time you use willpower to resist a distraction, to look away from a buzzing phone, to resist opening a browser tab, or to push through tiredness, you draw down your mental energy bank. By 4 p.m., your willpower tank is completely empty. When your willpower is depleted, your amygdala takes over, and you default to instant gratification. Dr. Pychyl advises that you should never rely on willpower to fight distractions. Instead, you must practice environmental design and use commitment devices. You must outsmart your future self. Recognize that your future self, the version of you working at 3 p.m., will be tired, emotional, and looking for an easy escape. You must use your present self, when your logical brain is calm and sharp, to build physical and digital barriers that make procrastination as difficult as possible. Here is how you engineer an environment for focus. 1. Remove the cues of distraction. If your phone is lying face up on your desk, your brain has to constantly expend willpower to avoid picking it up. Solution: put your phone in another room, inside a locked drawer, or use an app blocker that physically locks you out of distracting websites for specific hours. Make the distraction physically hard to reach. 2. Increase friction for bad habits. If checking social media requires typing in a long, complex 30-character password every single time, you introduce a gap of physical friction. That brief gap gives your logical prefrontal cortex enough time to step in and say, wait, do I really want to do this right now? 3. Decrease friction for good habits. If you want to write in the morning, open the document the night before, maximize the window, leave your notebook open on your desk with a pen resting on top, and clear away all clutter. When you sit down, the barrier to taking that first step is zero. Stop trying to win a battle of endurance against a hyper-stimulating world. Design an environment where distractions are absent, and focused action becomes the path of least resistance. Chapter 8: The Implementation Intentions, predeciding your actions. Even with a well-designed environment, you will inevitably hit moments during the day when sudden friction occurs. A task will get hard, an unexpected problem will pop up, or an urge to distract yourself will flash across your mind. If you wait until that moment of friction to decide what to do, your emotional brain will almost always choose the easy escape. To prevent this, Dr. Pychyl recommends using a powerful tool developed by psychologist Peter Gallwitzer, implementation intentions, commonly known as if-then plans. An implementation intention is a pre-made decision. You decide in advance exactly when, where, and how you will handle a specific trigger or obstacle before it happens. The formula is simple: if trigger X happens, then I will perform action Y. Let us look at how you can apply if-then plans to bypass the procrastination trap. Scenario 1: Dealing with emotional resistance. Traditional reaction: you sit down, feel bored, and open a video app. If-then plan: if I feel a wave of boredom or anxiety when I look at this task, then I will pause, take 3 deep breaths, and write just one line. Scenario 2: Handling digital impulses. Traditional reaction: you hit a tough part of a project, and your hand automatically reaches for your smartphone. If-then plan: if I feel the sudden urge to check my phone while working, then I will stand up, stretch my arms for 10 seconds, and return my gaze to the screen without touching the phone. Scenario 3: Managing interruptions. Traditional reaction: a notification pops up, you click it, and lose 45 minutes down a rabbit hole. If-then plan: if an email notification arrives while I am in a focus block, then I will immediately minimize the pop-up and write "process at 4 p.m." on my notepad. Why are if-then plans so effective? Because they convert a complex conscious decision into an automatic, pre-programmed reflex. You do not spend precious willpower debating what to do in the moment. The trigger occurs, and your brain simply executes the pre-decided response. By scripting your reactions to discomfort in advance, you strip your amygdala of its power to hijack your decisions. Chapter 9: The Power of Meaning, Connecting to Your Values. We have covered the mechanics, the psychology, and the tactical tools. Now, we must address the deepest layer of the procrastination puzzle: meaning. Why are some tasks so agonizingly difficult to start, while others feel light and engaging? Often, we procrastinate on tasks because they feel completely disconnected from our core values and identity. We view the task as an arbitrary, painful burden imposed on us by an outside authority, a boss, a teacher, a client, or societal expectations. When a task feels alien to who you are, your inner self naturally rebels against it. Dr. Timothy Pychyl points out that if you want to eliminate chronic procrastination, you must learn how to reframe your tasks by connecting them to your core values. You must ask yourself the deeper question: why does this task actually matter to me? Let us look at how simple reframing can transform your emotional energy. The disconnected view: I have to spend 3 hours filling out this boring, tedious spreadsheet for my supervisor. Result: high emotional resistance, heavy procrastination. The value-connected view: filling out this spreadsheet accurately ensures our team budget stays secure, which protects my career stability, provides financial security for my family, and demonstrates my mastery as a professional. Result: meaning replaces boredom, resistance drops. When you connect a mundane, uncomfortable task to a deeply held personal value, like love for your family, pride in your craftsmanship, or commitment to your personal growth, the nature of the task changes. You are no longer just filling out a spreadsheet or just studying for a test. You are actively building your character and protecting your future. Meaning is the ultimate fuel for self-regulation. When the why behind an action becomes clear and deeply personal, your prefrontal cortex gains the strength it needs to endure any temporary how. Chapter 10: The Daily Blueprint for Change. We have traveled through the complete psychological landscape of Dr. Timothy A. Pychyl solving the procrastination puzzle. Now, let us bring all these concepts together into a clear, actionable daily blueprint that you can use starting tomorrow morning. Here is your daily strategy for change. Step 1: Set the table the night before. Before you finish your day, identify your single most important task for tomorrow. Do not pick 10 tasks. Pick the one task that truly matters. Clear your workspace. Open the necessary files, set out your notebook, and remove all physical clutter. Design the environment so that starting tomorrow requires zero setup time. Step 2. Mind your morning state. When you wake up, protect your emotional baseline. Do not check social media or breaking news in bed. Flooding your brain with high-stress digital noise first thing in the morning puts your amygdala in a hyperreactive state before your day even begins. Step 3. Spot the emotion, drop the lie. When you sit down to tackle your core task and feel that familiar wave of boredom, anxiety, or overwhelm, pause. Name the emotion. I am feeling anxious about making mistakes on this project. Recognize the lie. My brain is trying to tell me that I'll feel more like doing it tomorrow. That is a cognitive distortion. Step 4. Ask for the micro-next action. Do not look at the mountain. Ask yourself, what is the absolute smallest, easiest next action I can take right now to move this forward by 1%? Open the file. Write one sentence. Clear one item. Just get started. Step 5. Execute your if-then plans. When distractions call, execute your pre-made decisions. If an urge to check your phone hits, take 3 deep breaths, stand up, stretch, and put your eyes back on the work. Step 6. Practice radical self-compassion. If you slip up and waste time, and you will occasionally, do not unleash internal abuse. Forgive yourself immediately, let go of the dead past, drop the guilt, and simply return to the very next micro-action. Conclusion: the freedom on the other side of action. Narrator. Let us take a deep, slow breath together. Inhale clarity, and exhale the accumulated guilt of past delays. Procrastination is an ancient, deeply human struggle. It is not a sign that you are weak, broken, or destined for mediocrity. It is simply a protective mechanism built by an emotional brain that wants to feel good right now. But you are no longer at the mercy of that mechanism. You now hold the puzzle pieces. You know that procrastination is emotional regulation, not time management. You recognize the battle between your reactive amygdala and your logical prefrontal cortex. You can spot the lies your brain invents to justify delay. You understand that action precedes motivation, not the other way around. You hold the master key, just get started, with the smallest possible next step. You possess the shield of self-forgiveness to break the cycle of guilt. And you have the tactical power of environmental design, if-then plans, and value-based reframing. The real reward of overcoming procrastination is not just a longer to-do list crossed off, or higher productivity stats. The true reward is freedom. It is the light, boundless freedom of ending your day with a clear conscience, knowing that you did not run away from discomfort, that you honored your promises to yourself, and that you actively built the life you set out to create. Imagine putting your head on your pillow tonight without that heavy, lingering cloud of unfinished business. Imagine looking at a difficult challenge and knowing, with calm confidence, that you have the tools to walk through the discomfort and get it done. That freedom is not reserved for a lucky few. It is waiting for you on the other side of your very next action. Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not wait until you feel like it. Look at your life today. Identify that one task you have been putting off. Lower the stakes, find the smallest possible first step, and just get started. Thank you for spending your valuable time with us today on the Book Vault. If this breakdown brought clarity, relief, and actionable wisdom to your life, please take a moment to subscribe, share this episode with someone who needs to break free from delay, and join us again as we continue to decode the world's most powerful books. Until next time, be kind to yourself, master your emotions, and keep moving forward, one small step at a time. Like, share, comments, and subscribe to my channel.